You just yawned, or you are about to. And here is the strange part. You probably do not even know why. You were sitting somewhere, minding your own business, when someone nearby opened their mouth wide, pulled in a slow breath, and suddenly your jaw dropped too, involuntarily, completely beyond your control. And if reading that sentence made you yawn just now, that is not a coincidence. That is your brain doing something ancient, something that reaches back millions of years before language, before cities, before any version of what you would call civilization. The real answer for why that happened is far stranger than you think. Most people assume yawning is about oxygen. You yawn because you are tired. You yawn because the room is stuffy. You yawn because your body needs more air. That explanation feels right. It is logical, it is also almost certainly wrong. Here is what the science actually says. In 1987, a researcher named Robert Provine at the University of Maryland ran a series of experiments on yawning. He had people breathe air with elevated carbon dioxide levels. He had them breathe pure oxygen. He had them breathe normally. In every condition, yawning rates stayed the same. The oxygen theory had no legs. Yawning did not change based on what was in the air. So the question shifted. If yawning is not about oxygen, what is it for? One answer came from a surprising place. Andrew Gallup, a researcher at SUNY Polytechnic Institute, proposed something called the brain cooling hypothesis. The idea is this: your brain is a heat engine. It runs hot. And when it overheats, even slightly, cognitive performance suffers. Your brain needs a way to regulate its own temperature. And yawning, it turns out, may be exactly that mechanism. When you yawn, your jaw stretches wide. Blood flow to your face and skull increases. You pull in a rush of cooler outside air across the tissues of your mouth and sinuses. That air contacts the blood vessels near the surface and helps draw heat away from the brain. In one study, Gallup and his colleagues found that people yawned significantly more in the morning and evening, the exact times when brain temperature is shifting most rapidly. They also found that holding a warm pack against the forehead increased yawning, while a cold pack reduced it. The body was managing heat, and the yawn was part of the system. But that still does not explain why you yawn when someone else does. To understand contagious yawning, you have to go somewhere much deeper. You have to go into the wiring of the social brain. Inside your skull, there is a network of neurons that fire when you perform an action, and also when you watch someone else perform that same action. These are called mirror neurons. They were first documented in macaque monkeys by Giacomo Rizzolatti and his team at the University of Parma in the early 1990s. A monkey watched a researcher grab a peanut. The neurons in the monkey's brain that controlled grabbing fired as if the monkey itself had grabbed the peanut. It had not moved, but its brain responded as if it had. Mirror neurons are part of how you understand other people. When you watch someone wince in pain, something in your brain flinches too. When you watch someone smile, the muscles around your own mouth respond. You are not just observing, you are simulating. Your brain is running a model of what the other person is experiencing in real time inside your own nervous system. Contagious yawning plugs directly into this system. When you see someone yawn, your mirror neurons fire. Your brain simulates the yawn. And in many cases, that simulation is strong enough to trigger the real thing. But here is where it gets genuinely strange. Not everyone catches yawns equally. And the difference reveals something profound about human connection. Psychologist Molly Helt and her colleagues at the University of Connecticut found that children with autism spectrum disorder are significantly less likely to catch contagious yawns that yawns than neurotypical children. The children's own spontaneous yawning was completely normal. Their bodies yawned just as often, but the contagious response, the social trigger, was reduced. And since autism involves differences in social processing and empathy circuitry, that finding pointed directly at what contagious yawning really is. It is an empathy response. Your brain does not just mirror the yawn mechanically. It mirrors the yawn because it is reading the other person. It is tuned in. It is tracking them. The contagious yawn is a signal that your social brain is switched on, that you are present, that you are connected to the people around you. Research has confirmed this pattern across multiple studies. People are far more likely to catch a yawn from someone they know well than from a stranger. Studies show that yawn contagion is strongest between close friends and family members, then acquaintances, then strangers. Empathy scales predict yawn contagion almost perfectly. The higher someone scores on a standard empathy measure, the more susceptible they are to catching a yawn. And it is not limited to humans. Chimpanzees catch yawns from other chimps. Bonobos do too. Domestic dogs catch yawns from their owners. And studies by Atsushi Senju and colleagues suggest that dogs are actually more likely to catch a yawn from a familiar human than an unfamiliar one. Even the interspecies bond shows the empathy signature. Your dog is not just bored when it yawns after you do, it is socially attuned to you. It is running its own version of the same mirroring system. So what is really happening when you catch a yawn? Somewhere back in the deep past, tens of millions of years ago, possibly more, social animals needed a way to stay synchronized. Groups needed to sleep at the same time, wake at the same time, shift alertness levels together. A single animal wandering off to sleep while the rest of the group stayed alert was vulnerable. Coordination mattered. And yawning, with its role in shifting brain state from high alert to rest or from rest to readiness, became a synchronization signal. When one animal yawned, it broadcast its internal state, and the others, wired to mirror each other, caught it. You are the inheritor of that system. Every time you catch a yawn, your ancient social brain is doing exactly what it was built to do. It is reading the room. It is tracking the people around you. It is keeping you in sync with your group. That is why yawning in a meeting you have to endure is almost impossible to hide. Your brain is being honest. It is broadcasting your true state to everyone who is wired to receive it. And they are wired to receive it because evolution rewarded groups that stayed synchronized, groups that read each other accurately, groups whose brains were tuned to the same frequency. There is something worth sitting with here. A yawn feels trivial. It feels like an embarrassing loss of control, something to cover with your hand and hope no one noticed. But under the surface, it is one of the oldest social signals your body knows how to send. It crosses species lines. It is sensitive to love and closeness. It is tied to the deepest machinery of human empathy. The next time you try to hide a yawn, consider what it actually means. Your brain has scanned the people around you. It found someone it is connected to. It synchronized, it mirrored. It did, in one silent, involuntary moment, what empathy does. It closed the distance between you and another mind. You saw someone open their mouth. Your brain said, "I know that feeling." And without asking your permission, it felt it too. That is where this started. One person, one open jaw, one breath. And now, whether you realize it or not, something just passed between you.